The Michael Vance manhunt is over. Meanwhile, reports suggest Vance didn't act alone, and a slew of new laws flood the state. This is OU Nightly. New details on the Michael Vance manhunt that finally came to an end Sunday night.
Vance was shot dead 8 days after a crime spree that left 2 of his relatives dead and multiple law enforcement officers wounded. London Bulgarelli tells us more about the man who wreaked havoc in Oklahoma.
A week after the manhunt began, Michael Vance was shot dead in a half-hour gun battle with highway patrolmen and deputies near Harmon, Oklahoma, near the Texas Panhandle.
Watch this, people. Letting y'all know, look, this is real.
Vance had been eluding police since October 23rd after he murdered his aunt and uncle in Wellston, then shot 2 Lincoln County Sheriff deputies as he fled. He even broadcast his escape on Facebook Live. For the past week, Oklahoma drivers have been urged to be vigilant. Major interstates had warnings posted all across the Oklahoma area. It became one of the largest manhunts in Oklahoma history. Now that he's dead, the investigation is now centered on what sparked the 38-year-old Vance to begin one of the bloodiest shooting sprees in Oklahoma history. London Bulgarelli, OU Nightly.
OU Nightly will keep you updated as the investigation progresses. For now, police say Oklahomans can rest a little more easy knowing this man is off the streets.
And according to the Daily Oklahoman, a convicted felon has admitted to helping the wounded Dale Vance after the shootout with Wellston police. OU Nightly confirmed that on Friday, the suspect, Danny L. Roach, was booked into the Oklahoma County Jail. The Oklahoman quotes an unnamed investigator who said Roach admitted to giving Vance bandages, an assault rifle, and ammunition, and to being a lookout while Vance was at his Oklahoma City home. Roach is being held without bail in the Oklahoma County Jail on complaints of being an accessory to a first-degree murder.
228 new state laws will go into effect tomorrow, including measures to make criminal justice reforms and bring in more tax revenue. Here's a look at a few of them. One of the laws authorizes money to pay for the state capitol renovations. Another requires anyone arrested for a felony to submit DNA samples. Lawmakers reduced mandatory sentences for drug offenders charged only with possession. And still another new law will send all DUI cases to district court.
And as OU Nightly's Stephen Mudd shows us, one of those new laws addresses the growing concern over concussions.
Comes up throwing again on first down, maybe. Well, he got away from the rush. Still doing a dance in the backfield, got a big-time block, and then he got hammered.
Starting on November 1st, an updated version of the state's concussion law will take effect. I caught up with Jeff McKibben about the details.
The training will become annual, so there will be annual training for coaches, parents, and actually players to understand the signs and symptoms of concussions.
With nearly 3 million concussionings happening each year in organized sports, Mr. McKibben knew something had to be done.
When we started seeing the research show that there was long-term effects from concussions not being treated properly, we knew we needed to get something on in our state to protect athletes from returning to play from concussions.
Organized sports is obviously a huge cause in concussions, but surprisingly, football is not the leading sport.
And football's in there, but women's soccer is pretty high, and that's due to the heading.
Concussions are a big issue in the state and the country. New laws like this one will inform everyone about the symptoms and prevent further brain trauma. Stephen Mudd, OU Nightly.
For more statistics about concussions, you can visit www.cdc.gov.
And even though it is Halloween, it is still really warm outside.
Really, really warm. What can trick-or-treaters expect for tonight's weather, Kylie?
Guys, it's going to be warm and windy tonight for trick-or-treating. Check out the max temperatures across the state today. We hit 84 here in Norman, 88, and that's the warm spot out in Guyman. Now, what's interesting is that by November 1st is the average first freeze time for Oklahoma City and Norman. We're going to be nowhere near that tomorrow. Tomorrow, I forecasted a high of 80 degrees, so nowhere near 32 degrees. And what's interesting too is in 2001, we also hit 80 degrees. So if my forecast verifies, that's 15 years later from that record set in 2001. So that'll be interesting to keep an eye on throughout the day tomorrow. Coming up in Maine weather too, it's going to be another windy day. Next chance of rain too in our trick-or-treat forecast. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Kylie. And the FBI is reopening its investigation into newly discovered emails of Hillary Clinton's emails. Emily, what's the latest on that?
Yeah, thanks, Eric. Former Republican U.S. Attorney General Alberto Gonzales slammed the FBI director's actions in the new investigation into Hillary Clinton's email server.
I really worry that in this particular instance, the FBI director has made an error in judgment in terms of releasing this kind of letter, which really says nothing.
Gonzales referred to the letter that the director wrote Friday informing lawmakers that the FBI is reviewing new emails, saying it breaks from long-standing Justice Department practice. The usual protocol is to not comment on investigations and to stay silent on politically sensitive matters less than 60 days from an election. But even with this investigation beginning now, it's unlikely we will know its results until after the election. And in North Carolina, jury selection finally begins today in the Walter Scott case. Michael Slager shot Walter Scott after Scott ran from his car after being pulled over for a broken brake light on April 4th, 2015. It took days for the video of the shooting to emerge, and it's taken more than 18 months for the ex-police officer's trial on murder charge to start. Slager has been under house arrest since his release from jail on bond in January. And Iraqi special forces, after taking control of the last village to the east, are urging ISIS to surrender the city of Mosul. Iraqi Prime Minister says ISIS will have no way out and no way to escape as his military stands poised to enter the city, ready to enter at any moment. The minister also added that the terrorists will either die or surrender. The Iraqi troops said they avoided suicide car bombs without losing a single soldier, and ISIS lost more than 20. And WikiLeaks released an email today showing Donna Brazile warned the Hillary Clinton campaign that she would be asked about lead poisoning in Flint, Michigan ahead of a primary debate. Back to you guys.
Emily.
And still ahead on OU Nightly, we'll have today's earthquake report.
Plus, members of the UN reach a new climate agreement. Welcome back to OU Nightly. 300 million children in the world breathe highly toxic air. That's according to a report released today by the United Nations Children's Fund. A majority of them live in Southeast Asia, places like India and China. Those areas have air pollution up to 6 times the level the World Health Organization considers safe. UNICEF says air pollution is to blame for 1 in 10 deaths of children under 5 years old.
And nearly 200 countries agreed to work on a long-term strategy to curb the release of greenhouse gases from shipping. The International Maritime Organization hopes to have a plan by 2018, which the UN will then use to assess global climate policies. The deal finally surfaced after hours of negotiations that ran into the early morning.
And Oklahoma felt 3 earthquakes today so far, ranging from a 2.5 quake in Medford to a 3.5 magnitude quake in Perry. Norman residents felt a big 5.8 magnitude earthquake early last month. The USGS says an earthquake of that size is easily noticed and could cause damage to poorly built structures.
And still ahead on OU Nightly, Kylie Capps is standing by with weather.
Warm and windy across the state today, but we do have a chance of rain coming up in Maine weather. Welcome back to OU Nightly. I'm Kylie Capps. It was warm and windy across the state today. Current winds outside right now, 18 miles per hour in Norman. More windy too as you move up further northwest. 22 miles per hour in Woodward. We did see gusts of 25 miles per hour today. So it was a windy day out there today and warm. 83 right now in Norman, 87 right now in Guyman. We did hit that max temperature of 84, and we're not going to be as warm tomorrow, but it's still going to be another warm and windy day. Those winds increasing throughout the night. Looking at the metro planner right now, 84 down Downtown 83 out in Yukon, and it is warm, and it's going to feel even warmer downtown than the numbers do say. So if you're still feeling a little under the weather, it's because those allergies are still fairly high. Trees and mold are high. That grass has gone down a little bit. We have hit low, but again, if we need to see our first freeze or next chance of rain, which I am expecting to come in the next couple of days. So that'll be interesting too, keeping an eye on that. Looking at our future radar Tuesday morning, you can see some scattered clouds off to the north or southeast of us, and then again, more clouds starting to cloud up by Wednesday early morning. That best chance of rain, though, is going to be Wednesday evening. You can see some little cells starting to form by Wednesday around 6 p.m. And then later on throughout the night on Wednesday, we could see that line of showers and thunderstorms late night on Wednesday. So we're crossing our fingers for that, just to especially wash away those allergies right now, because it is pretty yuck and hot out there. And that is going to be, too, our next chance for a little cool down. Trick-or-treating tonight, lower 70s, warm and windy, but dry. So that's a good thing. At least we still will be waiting on that next chance of rain on Thursday. Looking too for the lows tonight, it's going to be pretty consistent throughout the board, except for that cool spot out there in the panhandle, 49 degrees out in Guyman. 62 is a low here in Norman tonight. And then throughout the entire day tomorrow, those winds increasing throughout the day, 25-mile-per-hour winds by 4 p.m. up to 80 degrees again. So it's going to be another warm and windy day. Highs throughout the entire state, lower 80s across the board. 80 is a high here in Norman and Oklahoma City, and it's going to remain warm and windy as well. And then looking at our 7-day forecast, Tuesday, again, windy and warm, some scattered clouds, but that best chance of rain is going to be Wednesday night, and that will start to increase throughout the evening on Wednesday. Don't forget to change your clocks back on Saturday. Saturday around 2 a.m. is whenever that's going to change. So, again, another warm and windy week ahead of us, but it's looking to be pretty nice.
Thanks, Kylie.
You're welcome.
And now here's Kenneth Adair with more on the Sooners' blowout victory. Kenneth?
That's right, guys. The Sooners took care of business on homecoming week, while the Cowboys had a bit of a tough time putting away their NFC East rivals. Sports is next. It was homecoming week for the Sooners, and they did not disappoint. The Sooners routed the Kansas Jayhawks 56-3, even with a slow start in the first quarter. Baker Mayfield and the Sooner offense quickly got it going in the second quarter, putting up 21 points. They did not slow down in the third, scoring 28 more, with linebacker Jordan Evans getting a pick six. The second half was mostly subs. Joseph Quinton describes how the Sooner defense was finally able to step up.
After giving up a season-high 854 yards last week in Lubbock, the Sooner D didn't even allow a quarter of that total to the Kansas Jayhawks, only allowing 170 yards in a game that the struggling Sooner D needed to gain some confidence as they head into the last leg of the season.
Guys practiced well and prepared well and went out and executed. It's not that difficult.
Yeah, they played and made competitive plays and made plays they had opportunities to make, stepped up and made them, and that's what we have to keep building on and keep improving and keep doing it more consistently.
But they didn't just limit the Jayhawks in yards. The Sooners also added 2 interceptions to that total, and one of those being a mesmerizing pick six by senior linebacker Jordan Evans. The Sooners will look to build upon their performance against the Kansas Jayhawks as they take on Iowa State this Thursday. Joseph Quinton, OU Nightly.
For more on the impressive win and to catch up on all of your basketball news, be sure to watch Sooner Sports Pad tonight. Blakely Durham joins us from Studio D with a preview. Blakely?
Yes, Kenneth, it's Hoops Night on Sports Pad. Kadeem Latin and Jimmoney McNeese drop by to visit us. Besides the basketball talk, we'll also look back at Thursday's ALS Baseball Challenge and the good it does for so many. And Carson Williams and I will show you our favorite viral videos and our Halloween costumes. Catch us live on Fox Sports Oklahoma tonight at 7:30, or you can see a replay tomorrow right here on OUTV after our newscast. Back to you, Kenneth.
Thanks, Blakely. In other Sooner sports, the OU volleyball team was victorious over TCU. OU won in just 3 sets, giving them a record of 14-10 overall. And women's soccer received 6 awards. Senior Rachel Ressler became first-team All-Big 12. Coda, Keister, Bowman, and Welch received second-team All-Big 12. And O'Donnell earned freshman All-Big 12. And good news for OKC fans as the Thunder improved to 3-0. Russell Westbrook had another explosive night. Westbrook recorded his second triple-double in a row, putting up 33 points, 12 rebounds, and 16 assists. The Thunder have a 2-day break before they take a West Coast trip to LA and then Golden State. And the Cubs stay alive last night in Game 5 against the Cleveland Indians. Cleveland strikes first with a home run by Jose Ramirez, but Chris Bryant evens the score with a bomb of his own in the bottom of the fourth. The Cubs later go up 3-1, but Cleveland gets a run in the sixth from a base hit by Francisco Lindor. Aroldis Chapman holds off in the ninth, ending it with a 3 straight fastball strikeout. Game 6 is tomorrow night. Keeping it in Chicago, the Bears face off against the Minnesota Vikings in Monday night's matchup. Both teams are coming off of blowout losses and hoping to rebound. And keeping it in the NFL, Cowboys versus Eagles last night. Dak Prescott rushes for the first touchdown of the game. In the final minutes of the fourth quarter, he goes deep to returning Dez Bryant for a TD, sending the game to overtime, where Prescott throws another TD to Jason Witten, ending the game in a 29-23 victory for the boys. And finally, the nation's top-rated running back was doing his thing again this weekend. Najee Harris of Antioch, California, breaks this poor defender's ankles on his way to a long touchdown run. All that speed, and he is 6'3", 225 pounds. Guys, this kid's amazing. He's sadly committed to Alabama. I don't know what to
Terrible
say
choice.
about that.
I'm not biased or anything, though.
Not that much, but would be nice to see him come to Oklahoma for a
Definitely.
bit.
Sooner State. Thanks, Kenneth.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kenneth.
And straight ahead on OU Nightly, one Norman woman is taking Halloween to the next level.
I'm Abby Green at the Update Desk. Muskogee Police Department say 3 women were hospitalized following a Sunday night shooting at a Muskogee nightclub. One victim, shot in the pelvis, was flown to a Tulsa hospital, while another woman was stabbed in the torso. Police are still looking for a person of interest. That's it for now. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Abby. And Halloween is a celebration that many believe originated with the ancient Celtic festival when people would light bonfires and wear costumes to ward off roaming ghosts. And while millions of children and adults are preparing their costumes for tonight's modern Halloween festivities, OU Nightly's Lindsay Gomez introduces us to a Norman woman for whom costumes have become a serious year-round business.
She's been sewing since she was 9. And now she's stitching all of her talents together to create a business.
As a performer, you know, a lot of groups are on a shoestring budget, and I just started doing costumes for shows that I was in because I could sew, and it has just grown from a hobby into a career.
DAYNA Brown is currently the costume director for the OKC Ballet.
Let's go to the mall. Okay, let me get my hat.
But now she's launching her own costume consulting company called Costumed.
So when I inherit something like this, I can't just keep it. I have to do something with it, you know?
This is how it works. First, people show up to her in-house costume wonderland, lined with racks of sparkly, furry, and colorful garments, stacked with suitcases full of crazy hats, weird wigs, and antique jewelry.
I sit down with them and consult about what look they're interested in.
Then she takes them through her entire collection of items.
I'm going to propose this to the gal who's coming.
But if they aren't able to find the perfect outfit,
then I can build something for them.
After 13 years of working with costumes and researching their historical backgrounds,
the geometric, really loud patterns were totally 70s.
Brown says certain fabrics, textures, and even colors are specific to periods of time.
If they're going for a certain era, like a 1950s look, there are certain colors even from that era that work that would not work, say, for today.
She says this knowledge base helps her create more authentic looking costumes.
It's cool, it's different.
That will make her clients stand out no matter where they go. Lindsay Gomez, OU Nightly.
Brown services are available all year long. To contact her, visit costumed.net. And I have to say, you guys, looking at all those elaborate costumes makes me want to dress up again.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you still can.
Right?
Tonight's the night.
For everyone who dresses up tonight, though, it might still stay a little warm. It's going to be another warm and windy evening ahead of us, increasing winds throughout the night. Again, might get a little warm under those costumes, 68 by midnight. But once you're trick-or-treating, those lower 70s. So it's going to be a nice evening for everyone going out tonight to trick-or-treat. So really looking forward to it.
You're never too old.
Never too old to trick-or-treat.
Do you guys have any plans dressing up as anything, or did you have any costumes this weekend?
I dressed up as an astronaut this weekend.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
What about you, Kylie?
I was a Taco Bell hot sauce packet.
Wow, that's so creative.
It
I'm
was.
jealous.
All right, thanks, Kylie.
Thanks for watching OU Nightly, brought to you by the Gaylord College at the University of Oklahoma.
We'll see you back here tomorrow night live at 4:30.
Good night.